Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Our fourth episode this season, Children of the Mist, took us to Aotearoa, New Zealand, where a law called the Te Urewera Act recognised a rainforest as its own legal entity. Today we're bringing you a bonus episode so that you can hear more from Tamati Kruger, the chair of the Board of Humans that act as the legal guardians of Te Urewera. If you haven't listened already, the full episode goes into some of the history of how Tūhoe, the Maori tribe who called Te Urewera home, had their land violently and illegally confiscated during colonisation. Unlike the New Zealand government, which views land as property, Tūhoe believe that Te Urewera is their ancestor. In that episode, we heard how, as a Tūhoe negotiator, Tamati Kruger helped to introduce an Indigenous understanding of nature into New Zealand law. Today we're sharing with you more of our interview with Kruger. You'll also hear a bit later on from Kirsty Luke, the CEO of the Tūhoe Tribal Authority, who joined us for the interview and gave her insights into the Te Urewera Act and climate change. Welcome back to Damages. I'm Lyndall Rowlands.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
I had heard about rights of nature for a while, but right when I was starting to dig into it a little bit more, this great documentary came out. It's called Invisible Hand. It's the third film from directors Joshua Prabanik and Melissa Troutman and executive producer Mark Ruffalo. It's won 7 Best Documentary Awards and received laurels from 22 international film festivals. It's an excellent deep dive on the subject of rights of nature if you want to dig into it even more after listening to this series. I highly, highly recommend it. It's a paradigm-shifting documentary that does not leave viewers in total despair, but actually provides some inspirational solutions, strategies, and stories that will move you to take action where you live. If you haven't seen Invisible Hand, you're missing out. Go to invisiblehandfilm.com for more on where to watch and how to support this great work.
We originally looked into Te Urewera this season because it's considered one of the first examples in the world of rights of nature. But as you'll hear, Tamati Kruger sees the act as being a bit different.
My name is Tamati. I'm the chair of the Te Urewera board, and I'm also the chair of the Tūhoe Tribal Authority. I think perhaps the better way of getting an appreciation of the picture of that first purpose of the Act is to realize that after 180 years of colonization in Aotearoa, New Zealand, Tūhoe, that is a tribal group, is one of a number of tribal groups that were afflicted by colonization, where primarily, we suffered prejudice and injustice and loss. When we had the opportunity to look at resolving a settlement with the Crown or with the New Zealand government, it was really based on the need for justice. But that quality which the Crown is unable to deliver to all Indigenous people. So the settlement that we negotiated with the Crown was for the return of our entire homeland, which had been confiscated by the Crown and had left my people destitute for 100 years or more. So the connection, the purpose of the Act, which is the connection of the Tūhoe people with Te Urewera, is around our identity, our sense of belonging, our connection with the land, which our identity and our sense of belonging all comes from. The very culture, from our literature to cuisine, to our art and culture, to our language, to our traditions and customs, they all come from our homeland, from the land. So the purpose is to retrieve that sense of belonging, and that is where justice lies for ourselves.
The Te Urewera Act became law in 2014, but Tamati Kruger goes on to explain how for Tūhoe, the process of reconnecting with their homeland after more than a century of dispossession hasn't happened overnight.
I believe it has started the most sincere form of healing and connection. We predicted that it would take us no less than 2 generations, approximately 40 years, to see the signs of the return and the restoration of our culture, of our sense of belonging, and of connection. And so we are only 10 years now into that journey, but already we are getting a full sight of what we have to do. And the journey is most difficult, isn't it, for all Indigenous people, because we are exploring the depth of hurt, the depth of damage and loss to us all. This is our journey that are beyond words, and that all Indigenous people around the world have to confront and amount what we have lost, what we cannot restore and repatriate, and what we have to design and create.
While the Te Urewera Act is considered by many to be an example of the legal approach known as rights of nature, Tūhoe have a different way of understanding their relationship with the land.
We don't think describing it as rights is helpful in our situation. Tūhoe believe that they are born with responsibilities, not rights. We are born into a family that involves the environment, that involves nature. In our creation stories, there is no space, no regard for ownership, entitlement, or rights. Where we are born as part of nature, it is our point of origin and our point of return. As Tūhoe people, we accept that we have obligations and responsibilities, not only to ourselves, but to how we live, where we live, and that it is our duty, in order for us to progress and advance as human beings, we must know our place in nature. We don't see that our struggle is a struggle of rights. It's rather a struggle to restore our sense of responsibility to ourselves and to nature. We don't own Te Urewera. We don't own this land, but we live with it. And our behavior and what we believe in and what we sense will determine how well we live with the land.
My next question was about what the Tūhoe approach to nature might mean at a time when the climate is changing. And for this question, Kirsty Luke, the CEO of the Tūhoe Tribal Authority, gave an incredible answer, building on what Kruger had just explained.
I would say that at the beginning of your questions was one around the statutory purpose of Te Urewera Act, which is to strengthen the connection of Tūhoe with Te Urewera. That is the first time or use of that term in New Zealand legislation. What we were intending by that was to very deliberately disrupt the idea of property rights, of ownership, that being the thing that is determining, breeding even, one's attitude and entitled view of Papatūānuku, of the planet, of land. So it's a small word in whatever are the 100 pages of that piece of legislation, but it is the mighty word because it's a word we are using to undo the harsh damage of capitalism in the hearts and minds of our children and our families and our communities. So our fear of climate change is not for the land. The climate is evolving in a way that is making it inhabitable for humans, but I doubt the land itself is as distressed as we are. We don't worry for the land. All we see is that we have lost, through our practices and our behaviours and our care of land, that we have lost the right to live here. So our problem is a people problem, our problem is a human challenge, it's a humanity challenge. And that's why, and the medicine, as Tamati has described, is one of responsibility, of reconnection, of care, not so that we can turn that care into a currency called money and somehow pretend to each other that we can survive fires and floods, but that our collective care might address the greed that we're growing, the must-have entitlement, the insatiable deficit thinking that we just don't have enough when we do. That's maybe not a great answer to climate change, to make less greedy humans, but that's all I've got for you.
No, you really got to the heart of the issue.
We're proud to be Tūhoe. We're proud of the customs and the traditions and the heritage that tells us that we are from nature, we're part of nature, and that we have responsibility. That is our salvation, and that is our future. This is not something we understand is unique to Tūhoe, but to all Indigenous people. And there was a time in Western culture where it too was their tradition, was their custom, until they lost their way. They now rely on the Indigenous people to bring back a heart memory of that, because it's good for humanity, and it's good for the planet that we're on, that we're blessed to be here. So, we are grateful to the millions of people around the world that dedicate their time, their intellect in raising gratitude, in raising appreciation by all people and government, that we desperately need to change the way we live, our lifestyle, our livelihood, our values, in order to be better humans.
That's all for this episode. Next week, our season concludes with a look at how industry is responding to the push for rights of nature. So come back for that. I'm Lyndall Rollins. Thank you for listening.
Damages is an original Critical Frequency production. This episode was written and reported by Lyndall Rollins. Our editor and senior producer is Sarah Ventry. Sound design by Ray Pang. Mixing and mastering by Mark Bush. Our fact checker is Wudan Yan. Our First Amendment attorney is James Wheaton of the First Amendment Project. Artwork for the show is drawn by Matt Fleming. Our theme song this season is Bird in the Hand by Forknown. If you like the show, please remember to rate and review it wherever you're listening and share it with your friends. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.